Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're moving into the next qualifier match of the AI Championships. In this match we have a Raven, a Beefheart going up against Hox Sox, Team 20 going up against Team 15. These two players have been in the game for a while, but we'll go through the bans and the selection and the subs for these two players, and then we will jump into the battle. Starting off with the bans, we had Hox winning the coin flip, and he opted for Raven to go first. Beefheart banned Magnus off the bat, strong ban, followed by Azariel from Hox. Solid choices, pretty standard bans. We have seen mostly Azariel banned in every match she has been in. People just do not want to verse her. Followed by the Lucky and the Sacrif, eliminating all the healers from the table. Healers can be detrimental to your defeat. They will allow an enemy, especially in this format, to just continuously survive, as you do not have compositions to be able to do enough damage to take out healers. So healers are very valuable in the tournament setup. Next up, we have the Artist ban and the Mizuhiku ban. Artist ban, interesting last ban choice. The reason for that is because by this point we've already banned the Magnus and the Sacrif. Is the Artist going to really be a hero anyone picks? He is most beneficial to other Archons, so having the Archons removed, I feel like it would be a waste to have him on the board. You could potentially ban a better hero and hope that your opponent picks Artist. He could potentially still do a lot. He has his blind, he has his AoEs, so it's a hard call. I'm not in the battle. These players are. I'm sure Raven or Beefheart, I keep calling him Raven, Beefheart had a reason for banning him, and we will stick it. Mizuhiku, a solid ban from Hox. We have seen the absolute destructive power of Mizuhiku in the Tournament of 4. I think he is a solid ban as well. Moving into the first picks, we had Beefheart going with Siegfried. Interesting choice. Again, we have seen in the tournament Siegfried not really doing too well, so to have him as a first choice, very interesting considering the other powerful heroes on the board, or mainly just one, which eludes both players at the very beginning because Hox follows up with a Lael and a Gassa pick. Gassa interesting, especially since he can bypass taunt. So that might have been the reason Hox went for Gassa, because he can straight away bypass the Siegfried and eliminating a whole aspect of that character. So the only issue is he's the only character that can bypass the taunt. The other characters on his team can't, so it's going to be splitting up the attacks. Next up came the Swamp Killer and the Stealthy from Beefheart. Swamp Killer, honestly, I feel like should have been the first choice. If you had first pick, that should have been the pick to go for. Swamp Killer is a weapon, and with what is on the board, who is really going to contest a Swamp Killer? She is going to run Rampant and Stealthy as well. Being picked, Stealthy, a pretty good damage dealer, especially with the right conditions. Is he able to set up those conditions? Interesting. We would have to see. I do not know off the top of my head any heroes on the board that can set up Stealthy. Next, we have Hox going with the Schnee and Jag. Just solid damage dealers. They have the increased crit chance, the increased damage. They can do a lot of damage. And Hox's team is pretty much a solid damage dealing team. The only downfall is probably the Gassa, as his attacks will be diverted at the beginning. If he could focus purely on single target damage dealers, he may be able to just rip through targets, but the Gassa weakened him a tiny bit. Going into the next selections, we had Sneaky Beaky and Sabretooth. So Beefheart going with the tank lineup with the 4 damage dealers in the back. Pretty solid strategy, with the Trodar being picked last for Hox. Trodar, arguably one of the worst tanks in the game, comparable to Gatekeeper. I honestly think Gatekeeper might be a little bit worse, as much as it pains me to say, because Gatekeeper is an awesome character. But Trodar, if he can get the taunt off, he's such a slow hero. Those 3 rounds of taunt can last forever. So that's, I think, what Hox would be relying on, is he can get the taunt off and then allow his damage dealers to wreak havoc. The opposite of Siegfried, where Siegfried starts off with the taunt, Trudar is working up to his taunt. And then came the subs with Hylia on Beefheart's team, the only healer on the board. I think it's a smart choice, taking the healer as a sub and then being able to place her in the team if needed. And then Rogar from Hox. I honestly would have picked Rogar over Trudar for the main team, and then Trudar as a potential sub. What is left on the board at this point? You have Arik and Spear. Unfortunately, I think this is the first team matchup where we've seen an Arik and Spear, so he's just been ignored completely in the Gatekeeper. So Rogar, not the worst choice. Arik and Spear might have been better in the terms that he could sub that character in for the Gasser and have a pretty solid lineup, or he could just put Spear in over the Trudar and had a full damage team, but he went 2 tanks at the end. That's his lineup. So we've got 2 teams purely, or not purely, built more around DPS with the tanks on the offside, and then hopefully the damage. It's pretty much who can do the most damage at this point. So we'll jump into the battle and see how these 2 teams play out. Going into the first battle, Swamp Killer comes out with some damage on Trudar. Interesting, Trudar being the first target, but that is because there is no healer on either team. So, there's no laws. There's no rules these teams are following. They're just going to hit whatever they want, with the enemy having to attack Siegfried just because of the passive taunt. But once that wears off, it is free for all. Damage coming out on Siegfried, but not a lot, as Trudar and Lael have taken a fair bit of damage. However, Lael hiding should be able to avoid most damage. However, with the Sabretooth on the field, it's proving quite effective as he can bypass the hide. She's out of it now, as she's very close to falling. Lael is the first to fall. Hox taking the first casualty, as Beefheart taking the advantage, with Stealthy being quite low on HP. If they can take out Stealthy, maybe they can make something of it. With Trudar taking a fair bit of beating, he's actually taking a lot of hits, and that is good for Hox, as Stealthy is the first to fall, bring into a 4v4 situation. But there we go, Hox losing another character, and his Jag falling into critical HP. The health difference is definitely advantageous to Beef at the moment, as he takes out another character, bringing it down to a 4v2 situation, and it's safe to say that Beef is in a commanding lead at the moment with no real chance of losing, especially with Swamp Killer just in the back, just annihilating targets. There, double hit, put the Gasser to sleep, as he is now taken out with the final strike coming from Swamp Killer. Final strike from Swamp Killer, giving the first point to Beef. We'll go over to the contestants now. They'll be able to decide if they want to use their subs or not. Going into the second battle, and Hox has taken out his Gasser and put in Rogar, going for a double tank strategy, seeing as Beef has a tank line with 4 pretty decent damage dealers in his back line. If he can try and mitigate as much damage onto his tanks as possible, or having his damage dealers try and take out their damage dealers, or Hox's damage dealers, he might stand a better chance. Gasser being able to avoid taunt wasn't really helping Hox, seeing as he was the only one being able to attack past taunt, so it was split damage, it wasn't really doing anything. So it looks like Hox is taking a fair bit of damage from the enemy lineup, but they can potentially take out Stealthy. If they can take out Stealthy, good. First point goes to Hox, but it's quickly taken back by Beef. It's now a 3v4 situation. They need to take out another damage dealer. The issue here, though, is that the team is just it just doesn't have enough damage to catch up to the Swamp Killer, who is wreaking havoc. She's essentially getting attack after attack. Look, her attack is going to be up in a moment. There she goes again. And it's just literally tearing down Hox little by little. He's being chipped away slowly, as now the Siegfried is the main target, as his taunt is back up, allowing Swamp Killer. Mind you, Beef does have other damage dealers on his team, but it is Swamp Killer literally just chipping away and chipping away. And with Schnee about to fall, oh no, they both decide to hide, leaving Schnee dodging. You just couldn't dodge that many attacks, unfortunately. It's pretty clear that the second point is going to go to Beef, and Beef will take out the second point. Both points, 1 and 2, going to him, and Hox being eliminated from the competition. We'll go over to the leaderboard and have a look at the progression so far. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Another player eliminated, another player moving forward. Beefheart, congratulations. Unfortunately, Hox being eliminated, but that is just the way it is. We are getting ever so closer to finishing the qualifiers, and then we are moving on to the quarterfinals. And once we hit that mark, they are going to be starting to get chopped down pretty quickly. We have nearly eliminated half of the competitors so far. Hopefully, your player is still in the match if you have bet. If it's not, that's unfortunate. We can move on, hopefully, to another AI Championships, and you will have better luck there. But in saying that, we have had a lot of the crowd favorites eliminated from the competition already. It's just the way it is, though. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you're on the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.